Then I came to NASA Langley Research Center. Rosa Webster. How many of you know Rosa Webster? Rosa Webster was at UVA recruiting people to come work at NASA. And I looked at the NASA booth, kind of walking past it, NASA, kept walking. I saw DuPont and Dow, which I knew made more money than NASA. But she came and grabbed my arm and she said, "What's your name?" I said, "Leland Melvin." She said, "You're going to work at NASA." I said, "No, I'm not. I'm going to work at DuPont and Dow." She was tenacious. She saw something in me that I needed to be at NASA Langley. And so that interaction led me to coming to NASA to work in the fiber optics lab in building 1230. We worked on optical fiber sensors to use them in aerospace vehicles like X-33. And I did this for a little while. And the day that we made the first fiber sensor was the day that I got a call to get into the astronaut program. And again, I never imagined this, I never thought about this, but one of my friends handed me an application and said, "You'd be a great astronaut." I said, "Me, an astronaut? Really?" And then, how many of you know a guy named Charlie Camarda? A few of you? Well, Charlie Camarda applied that year that I didn't apply, and he got in. I said to myself, wait a minute. Well, if Charlie Camarda can get in, I can get in, right? So I applied the next year and I got in. And out of the 365 astronauts that have come out of the US, I was one of them. And it was because of the people in this room, friends, family, colleagues that believed in me. Now, I'm in the picture up there. Can you find me anywhere? Where's Leland? Up here in the front row? Let me give you a little help. There I am. I was not a hidden figure. I was in the Corps. I was in the Corps. I was in the group. I was in the club. And people that believed in me helped me get there. I worked in Russia for 2 years helping the first crew, Bill Shepard, Yuri Tinko, and Sergei Krikalev get to the space station safely. I worked with them for 2 years, and then it was time for me to come home and do my training. So this is the neutral buoyancy laboratory. In my chase for space, this was my first time training in this 6 billion gallon pool. I got in my suit, and as you know, in these EVA suits, there's a little plastic device we call a Valsalva pad that was supposed to be in my suit, and it was not. As I went down about 10 feet, I told the test director that this pad is not in my helmet, and I'm the kind of guy, I need to press my nose to clear my ears. He said, "Do you want to come on?" I said, "No, I think I can work through it." 20 feet. I tell the test director to turn the volume of the headset up. I can't hear a thing. I hear nothing but kind of static and white noise. They take me out. The flight surgeon walks over to me. He's talking to me, but I can't hear anything he's saying. They take my helmet off. He touches my ear. He pulls back a bloody finger. And no one knew what happened to me. People from around the world, ear, nose, and throat doctors from around the world were trying to figure out, why did I go completely deaf? I lost all my hearing in this training event. And as we've gone through this 100-year journey, we've lost people. We've had setbacks. We've had so many things happen to us. But explorers never give up. They keep going. And the doctors were trying to figure out after the surgery to see if I had a periorbital fistula or see if my inner ear was damaged. They couldn't figure it out. And so I was told, you will never fly in space by the flight surgeons. You will never fly in space. And I said, well, I said, okay, but I couldn't hear anything that they were saying, so they wrote me all these notes on these yellow legal pads. And this is Daniel Golden, who was our administrator during the time. He had flown in to see me. And this is what he wrote to me. He said, I was going to Colorado, blah, 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 blah. I came to see you. I believe in you. I'm going to get better. Here's my cell phone, call me anytime you need to. Well, if I call him, I can't hear him. I mean, what? So then he gave me this Eagle's Nest Nebula, where it's this nursery of stars, where stars are born. So you've seen that image before. One of the first images that the Hubble telescope took when it was repaired, when the scientific community said, you can't repair that with these clumsy astronauts and these clumsy gloves. There's no way to do that. And Dan Golden said, we do not give up on Hubble. We're not going to give up on you. And I think then he was fired like 3 months later or something. But long story short is, again, people were believing in me, sometimes when I didn't believe in myself. And this happened, my hearing came back slowly. I'm still hearing impaired this year. Things got better, but still the flight surgeons wouldn't let me fly in space. And so I went to work with NASA Education in Washington, D.C. to work the Educator Astronaut program. And this was 2003, of January 2003. Many of you know what happened February 1st, 2003. We lost our colleagues in Columbia. I was in D.C. I drove to David Brown's parents' home in Washington, Virginia to console his parents who had just lost their son in this tragedy. And I'll never forget what happened that night on Browns Mountain in Washington, Virginia. His father looked him in the eyes with tears and he said, Leland, my son is gone. There is nothing you can do to bring him back. But the biggest tragedy would be if we don't continue to fly in space to honor them, to carry on their legacy. And I'm like, wow. And I started crying. And his wife, Dottie, was there. And we hugged and we cried and we were ready to honor the legacy of the Columbia crew. That night was so transformative for me because I wanted to figure out what I was going to do to honor our fallen heroes. And we went to the memorial service at Arlington Cemetery. We then flew to different memorial services around the country on the NASA airplane. And the chief flight surgeon, Rich Williams, was watching me. He was sitting beside me. Takeoff and landing, he would take notes in a little black notebook. And in May of 2003, when I was ready to come back home to Johnson to finish up the selection process for these educator astronauts, he called me in his office and he said, Leland, I believe in you. Here's the waiver for you to fly in space. If I had given up like some of my friends had told me to do, you said, quit NASA, write the tell-all book and get paid. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay the course, stay the path. And that's what we've done over these 100 years. We've stayed the path to excellence. And